This film begins by showing a bus carrying prisoners stopping at a gas station to refuel and at the same time giving orders to the prisoners to urinate at the gas station. When the time given by the wardens to the prisoners has run out, one of them, prisoner number 0864, had not returned to their bus, so the guards tried to find his whereabouts, and it turned out he was urinating outside the toilet at the gas station. This is a prison for dangerous people who have a history of sadistic crimes in Russia and have received sentences life imprisonment, so the location is in the middle of a vast plain with extreme weather every day. Even the prisoner in the same room, number 086 AC, doesn't like of other people in his cell. He always tortures the new prisoners live there so that no prisoners can stay in the cell for more than 1 month, but Serge said that his presence here would not more than 3 days, so he did not need to worry about his presence here. When Sergei was exercising outside the prison building, 2 gangsters came to him intending to intimidate him because of the place Sergei used. It was their territory. They both intended to harm Sergei, but what they both don't know is that Sergei's strength is not comparable to their strength. After what Sergei did, the 2 gangsters invited Sergei to meet their boss, who is also the leader of prisoners in the prison. Samian asked Sergei whether he didn't know who he was, so he dared to create chaos in this prison. Sergei said that he knew who he was. He was the leader of the Kiev killed gang, thousands of people, both men, women, and children from all over the world. Due to the arms sales business belonging to him, Samian was very impressed because Sergei knew who he really was. He then asked who Sergei really was because he suspected that his purpose here must have something to do with him. Sergei said that he was the hunter, and his purpose in entering this prison was to kill him. Samian laughed. Hearing this, because all he knew about hunters was a myth. Moreover, he wouldn't be able to do anything in this prison. But Serge said that there was an ounce of truth in every myth, and all he needed to know before he died was that he was Kraven the killing Samian. Serge the hunter tried to get out of the prison with all his abilities, be it from his strength, agility, and everything that was released from during his journey, using the plane that had been prepared for his escape. Serge told the pilot that he had succeeded in completing his mission before, and prisoner 0864, who was his disguise, had probably frozen to death under the pile of for 16 years before Serge got the nickname of the Hunter. He and his younger brother, who still were teenagers at that time, their father, educated, who was a millionaire in the state of New York with great influence in the country. His father even often took them on vacation even though they were both at school. Nikolai told his 2 sons that they both had to become real men who in the future could be the successors to businesses, but it seemed that young Sergei did not like his father did, because for him his mother was more humane by still considering them as human beings. Nikolai said that they should both forget about their mother, who died a long time ago, especially very weak because she chose to commit suicide due to an illness in her mind. His father would invite them to go hunting again because, according to information from his people, the jungle would reappear after so many years. How long has he not shown his face during the hunt? This will be good. Their family relationship, especially being of the jungle, is a very enjoyable entertainment. In northern Tanzania region, a young woman named Sipso is shown playing tarot cards in front of her grandmother. These tarot cards are not just picture cards but cards. Show them a path. Could, in the future that was not visible in the her grandmother then to open 3 cards in row to see what her future would be. On the first card, High Priestess was shown, indicating that she came from a lineage of strong women. The second card shows a picture of a tower where an event is about to happen, and the third card shows the result is something very dangerous. His grandmother then gives a small bottle containing water has the property of curing all diseases. In fact, his grandmother will to him when he is old. Adult, but this tarot card has shown that his grandson will be in need of this potion in the near future. The symbol inside this bottle is all the spirit of Aleba, a spell that can be used to open the gate to the other side. This is a very powerful medicine that can cure everything, the disease of all who drink it and fill it with a very great power. The grandmother is very sure that her grandson the potion said very wisely, therefore always bring this object wherever he goes, and do not let his parents know that his grandmother has given this object to him not far from where the Kraven family Calypso has arrived just to hunt wild animals. There. Nicola then showed Serge that they were predators while this deer was their prey. They didn't need to be afraid of the animals because humans were the only species that animals feared the most. Nicola proud of his first son, but he didn't. With Dimitri looking very weak in his eyes, that night Dimitri poured out all his thoughts to Sergei about his father's attitude towards Dimitri was actually upset with their father because from past their father had never considered his existence compared to Sergei, who always got more attention from their father. Sergei actually also realized the different treatment Nikolai to the two of them, but even so Sergei asked Dimitri not to think about it, because he would always love him, just like the love their mother gave to the two of them. While outside the tent, the two of them, Nikolai and the people accidentally heard the roar of a lion that they were going to hunt from. Nikolai's people actually wanted to go to the source of the sound, but Nikolai forbade them because the lion was not the lion they were going to hunt. Said that the sound of the king of the jungle that they were going to hunt very similar to the sound of thunder from the top of he had not heard it yet. The lion saw his work had eaten 3 human loose in Bahari, then asked Nicola's real purpose in coming here. The king of the jungle, while the lion he was going to hunt had killed dozens of humans. Nicola said that he only wanted to become legend who had killed the king of the jungle. The next day they all started to go further in to hunt them down. During their journey, Alexei asked Nikolai if in the future they could be partners in business because he saw that the two of them could be a good couple, great in conquering the world. But with his arrogance, Nikolai told him that is there any benefit for him to work together with a person who is unknown in this world, especially now he is enjoying his hunting time with his 2 sons, so don't disturb his time with his stupid words. While at the moment Sergei left behind from Dimitri's group asked Sergei about why they had to join the hunt in Tanzania when they were only here to see how their father wanted to become a legend by killing the lion. But before Sergei had time to answer question, the lion that was his father's target was already behind him. The lion actually did not want to attack Serge at all after each other, even though Serge had pointed his gun at the lion. However, the shot from his father's gun that hit the lion's body instead made it go so that the lion now turned around and attacked him. Far from the lion brought Calypso and his parents also happened to be nearby to see some of the animals in that place. Calypso felt something kept calling him until finally he decided to walk alone towards the source of the voice that was calling him. It was like asking Calypso to heal someone, the man in front of him, and suddenly made Calypso seem to realize all of his grandmother's words had come true. He then tried to help Sergei by using his grandmother's potion, and it seemed that Sergei seemed to gain extraordinary strength as a result of drinking at the same time as himself, who accidentally was infiltrated by the jungle. Sergei, who is now in the operating room, received serious treatment due to the king of the jungle. The doctors who were treating him tried hard to cure him, but their efforts seemed to be in vain, because Serge had lost his heartbeat during the operation, but not long after that, his heart suddenly beat. Of course, again, surprised the doctor handle the operation. The doctor said that a tarot card had been in his shirt pocket since he was in the doctor also did not believe that Sergei could survive after the incident, because this was the first time a human had survived after being attacked by the king of the jungle. Not long after, who came to the hospital very happy to see that his brother could still survive after the terrible incident, but not his father, who looked annoyed because why didn't Sergei shoot the lion? Even Nikolai would immediately took her back to his house no matter what, even though the doctor had prevented her from taking her son home. A few days later, recovered Serge, who was now in, read the letter that his mother had sent him. In the letter, his mother apologized for leaving him earlier from this world. His mother told him that he had to promise not to become a man like his father because of all this was the result of his father's attitude. Then called Sergio to talk face to face in his room. Nicholas said that his actions in not shooting the gun at the lion could have killed him or his younger brother. Be a strong man, don't be a weak man like his mother, because Nikolai hopes he can become a great leader in the future. Therefore, his father plans to send Dmitri back to an American school while he will remain here to prepare his mentality to become a strong man. Sergei actually doesn't really care about any decisions his father gave it because he saw the head of the lion that had attacked it was now on the wall of his father's study. Serge was very angry, made Nicola very surprised because this was the first time Serge had dared to shout. With his feelings of anger towards his father, Sergei decided to leaving the house that night. His younger brother, who was aware leaving that his from older there had tried to prevent from leaving from there, leaving him because only his older brother cared about him. Serge said that he had to leave from there because there was something inside him that even he himself don't understand, even though distance will separate them. Sergei promised to always meet him when Dmitri had his birthday. Sergei is now in Eastern Russia to return to the place where he used to stop Dmitri and his mother. Serge had the chance to meet thousands of bulls running towards him, but one of the bulls seemed to protecting himself so that he doesn't get hit by the bulls. That and like remembering pieces of his past about his mother, the events in Tanzania, also his father's words demand him to always be strong until finally he tries to focus training, strengthening all the senses he had in the forest. training in the forest until one day he saw from a distance 2 bull hunters slaughtering dozens of bulls. There, Sergei, who was very angry, immediately killed the 2 bull hunters quickly, and it was his first human kill since he trained in the Russian forest. Back to the present, where Serge had returned to his residence after completing his mission in the Russian prison while catching fish in river. Serge also opened the voice from his cell phone, which he turned off during his mission to kill the gangster boss Cairo. His father sent him a voice message asking Sergei to come back and forgive all the mistakes his father made to him. Dmitry also sent him a message asking his brother to come to his birthday, because a birthday without presents is the same as a bad day, where he left it and days passed. The hunters of the Jetandu Benteng often hunted in the area for their own personal gain. They seemed very happy to be able to make a big profit by just taking the horns of bulls, but they did not realize that in the area there lived a hunter named Kraven is ready to kill them if they commit crimes. Succeed in killing all the hunters. At least he managed to see the license number plate of the car driven by the hunters who managed to escape from the place. The bull stretcher hunters are now in London to hand over their smuggled goods. Andre told his boss had a little problem when he was there, but he managed to overcome problems so that now he is here carrying a stretcher from the bull he hunted. But what Andre didn't know was that the person he was talking to was Sergei, who managed to track his whereabouts, and also who killed his boss in the room. At a funeral, Kipso, who now works as a prosecutor, is seen there to attend the funeral of his colleague who was killed by Russian gangsters. Front of his coffin, Kipso says that Samantha was his friend and mentor at the prosecutor's office, was the bravest fighter for justice in this city more than anyone else, but because of his great struggle, the leader of the Kirov gang, Crawley, killed himself. After the funeral, Calypso met Serge, who also expressed condolences for the death of his partner. Maybe he doesn't know who Serge really is, but a tarot card he gave him might remind him back to who he is. Calypso was surprised to see that he had helped was still alive, because as far as he knew, Serge had died while in the hospital. Serge was grateful because thanks to his help, he was alive until now. Theory then asked Calypso about what does he know who killed his partner. Calypso knows that the person who killed his partner is Semyon, the leader of the Kirov gang. But what disappointed him was why Semyon had to get a much lighter sentence than the charges he should have received. Sergei understood disappointment over the verdict. How would he feel if he managed to punish him with the punishment deserved for the crimes he had committed? Semyon didn't believe what Sergei Kipso said, so he tried to find the truth on the internet. In the news found there, it was reported that there was who is also a hunter of big gangsters in several countries who are in charge of all the murders, but until now everyone doesn't know who the real culprit is. Sergei and Calypso now meet somewhere to talk about many things about the two of them. Calypso asks about whether his goal was to kill Semyon, even though he actually deserved a proper punishment for all his crimes. Sergei said that he did this just to say thank you to him because Calypso had saved his life. Moreover, he had been looking for Calypso's whereabouts for years. To hear this, because actually a lawyer he did not like the act of taking the law into his own suspected hands. Whether his actions also were based on his background as the son of Nikolai. Sergei said that he had a big body by watching how his father used the power of his feelings for his father's crimes, even would love to see him follow his footsteps to take over their family business. But something happened to him when he found him in Tanzania. He then decided to stay away from his father, living somewhere by continuing to train the great power until finally he could do something like getting rid of people like his father. Journalists might call him the hunter, but he himself prefers to be called Kraven. Sadie then asked Calypso about what wind brought him to London. Apart his work, Calypso said that his parents were lawyers, so he went to law school to become the same person as his parents. After he graduated, he worked at the New York Attorney General's for 7 years until he got to the point where he couldn't stand the environment, and finally he decided to move to London to one of the biggest law firms who is in Europe. Sadie then gives him a list of names of people his next targets, which seems to make Kipsus very surprised because these people can put him in danger. Sergey Menil Calypso, a collaboration to partner with him to find the whereabouts of these people. This person through the help of his company network. Calypso is in a dilemma because if Sergey hunts down the names of the people on this list, it would also be the same as endangering the people around him. But even so, Calypso will think first about whether she will help him or not. Alexia gets news from her subordinate that Samian has killed in his cell and the perpetrator was the hunter. Hearing this, Alexia said that the hunter was just a fairy tale. According to the story, was faster than a cheetah, more cunning than a fox, and more ferocious than a hungry lion. But even though the hunter was just a fairy tale, in the underworld, rumors say that he has a list of names of people he will hunt down. Alexis doesn't care about it, but because according to rumors his name is also on the list of names, he then asks Damola to find out about it, Hunter, because it would be better if they managed to find out where he was first. Alexis also didn't forget a meeting with the three important Semian ingredients because he would see Semian who had been killed by the hunter. Immediately after that, Alexis met with Semian's men to say his purpose of meeting them. Alexis said that he planning to take over the territory illegal arms sales market of the gang after their boss died. Therefore he only needed one of them who he could invite to become his subordinate. However, it seems they underestimated Alexei, especially according to the rumors that Alexei was not worthy of the nickname Rhino, like his nickname. Alexei, who felt that these little guys had underestimated him, showed them his strength so that they would know who the person in front of them was. Alexei asked them both to choose who was still worthy of living to be his subordinate, because now Alexei only gave the choice to the person who was truly worthy of being his subordinate. When that night Jack met with Nikolai at Dimitri's restaurant to discuss their business deal. After his boss died, Nikolai said that if he wanted to work with him, then Jack would get something that he couldn't get while being his subordinate, Semian, but that was if he didn't agree first with other people, because Nikolai already knew that Jack had worked with Alexei. Knowing that his father's restaurant was in chaos, caused by his father's enemy, Dimitri was angry because why did they have to fight in his father's restaurant? Who heard this that came from his son's mouth too, so very angry. Why, as his son, he didn't try to save him. Nikolai had tried hard to make Dimitri a real man, but all his struggles seemed in vain because he was as Nikolai expected. Damola informed her boss that the attack had failed and everyone they were all dead, but even so, Damola gave him a CCTV video recording of the time murder of Samian. place while outside the prison Samian died. A man named Miller was there to look for clues to the cause of Samian's death. Actions were actually discovered by one of the prison guards, but for some reason when Miller showed his eyes, the prison guard seemed to be having a hallucination that made him suddenly disoriented so that Miller could kill him using the gun he pointed at him. Dimitri was very happy because his brother wanted to come here to celebrate his birthday, but before they went to his restaurant, Dimitri asked Sergio to wear a suit that he had prepared because he wanted to see his brother looking neater, even though Dimitri didn't have a lavish birthday party. When they arrived at the restaurant, told Sergio about the shooting had happened a few days ago. Yesterday, this place, Dimitri felt that very cowardly and didn't dare anything to do when their father was attacked by Alex's men, even though if he had dared to sacrifice to block the bullets aimed at their father, his father would have respected him. But Sergei said, why would he do it? Have to think that while their father is a criminal who deserves to be treated like that. Sergei told Dimitri to just be himself because no matter what, he will always love him. Not long after, Nikolai also came to his birthday celebration, Sergei a bit upset because it had been a long time since his father. Serge actually wanted to leave there, but for the sake of his younger brother's birthday, even though he didn't like his meeting with Nikolai. After Dimitri's birthday celebration, Sergei took his heavily drunk younger brother back to Serge's apartment. Also had time to sleep on the sofa. He returned to his residence the next day because he felt uncomfortable with the sounds around there. Sergei decided to sleep in the open air, just like he did every day the next day. Sergei woke up and intended to change his clothes before he returned to his place, his residence. When he returned to Dimitri's apartment, Sergei saw that the situation inside very messy while Dimitri had just been kidnapped by Dimitri, who was kidnapped by Mrs. Alex's son. Calisso's office to ask help looking for him. Information about the kidnapper of his sister, the characteristics of brown eyes, dark hair, and has a scar under his left eye and speaks with a Turkish accent. That night he should have slept in his sister's apartment instead of outside, just because he was with the noises around his sister's apartment. Calypso tried to calm him down and promised to find Serge information about who kidnapped his sister. 16 years ago, Sergei decided to leave his house. He returned there to Nikolai about who the people were who kidnapped his sister, then gave a severed finger from his enemy and said that the people who had kidnapped Dimitri asked for a ransom of $20 million within 48 hours. He could have the ransom right now, but this was not just a matter of money, but a matter of pride and how, because if he paid the ransom then they would consider him weak. Hearing this clearly made Serge hate his father even more, because just his pride, he didn't want to sacrifice himself for Dimitri was innocent. He shouldn't be the one who had to receive the karma from all his evil deeds. What his father did, he remember all these words. Maybe one day he will come back here to make a calculation with himself in the place where Dimitri he had time to give Dimitri a medicine to relieve the pain of his wounds. Because if he died then everything, this kidnapping would be useless. Dmitri had time to throw away the medicine, made Amir angry, so he was forced to hit Dmitri so that he would realize the only thing he could do here was obey all his words. Calypso met with his informant to give him information about a man who Calypso is looking for a man named Astamir, and he is currently hiding in a monastery on the outskirts of Ankara. After Calypso left, the person met Miller and said that he had given the location according to his request. Believe everything he said. Therefore, he asking for double the amount. They originally agreed to pay, but since the beginning Miller hired him, he had no intention of paying him. So with his eye abilities, Miller managed to kill him without having to touch him. It's done. Immediately. After that, Miller called Alexei to inform him that all their plans had gone according to his wishes, so what they needed to do now was prepare the place to be the tomb of the unsuspecting Calypso hunter, with his informant informing Serge that the person who had kidnapped his sister was named Hamir Astamir. He is currently in an old monastery in the northern region of Turkey. His sister is also there. The place. Arriving at the intended place, Sergei then in there to look for his sister's whereabouts while killing guards there one by one in order to find out where his sister was. It's him. In the monastery to find out what weapon was used by the hunter in killing people there, but not long after two police officers suspected Miller's presence at the place. They wanted to arrest him, but by using the power of his Miller eyes, again managed to hypnotize the police so that he could kill the police with ease, and they now together with him telling him that they had met before when they were hunting together in Tanzania. Maybe he didn't remember because he used to have longer hair then. Now Alexei was very impressed with his father because for the sake of his pride didn't want to ransom his kidnapped even though the money was $20 million compared to all the wealth he has. In fact, his kidnapping him was not to ask from his father but to kill his older brother who has named Kraven the Hunter. Dmitri actually doesn't believe Alexei said because the hunter is a myth, but after Alexei showed him the video CCTV of Russian was very surprised because he did the hunter who was famous in the underworld to be his brother, AB's son Alexei, who is now in the ruins of the monastery stone. Look for the hunter's body. However, because they realized was that the hunter's hand, making them off guard because it turned out was still alive. After that, Sergei called Calypso to inform him that all the information he had received was a trap that had been prepared by Alexei. Sergei then asked Calypso to immediately leave his office because he might be in danger right now, and told him to leave heading to the starter transportation terminal because there he has arranged a trip for himself. Alexei tells about his past when his father used to treat him the same as what Dmitri feels now. He remembers how his father used to belittle him until he could survive until now and found a cure to make him strong. At that time he met an expert professor, a biochemist named Professor Melz, is developing a procedure to increase strength 10 times that of an ordinary human. Alexei said that the strength he received exceeded that of a rhinoceros. Even his skin could withstand various weapon attacks in the world. Alexei thought that they were both victims of his father's arrogant attitude. Therefore, Alexei wanted to destroy Nikolai so that no one would look down on them anymore. But even though all of Alexei's words were true, Dmitri had no intention of betraying his family, because no matter what, he would use his whole life to make his father proud. When he heard that answer, it made Alexis very angry, but he was about to shoot himself. Dola told his boss that Kraven was still alive. Not long after Hannah Mola gave him information that someone was going up to the floor after paralyzing all his subordinates who were down there. They also then thought that it was Kraven who had arrived there to save his younger brother. Then they also prepared themselves to fight with Kraven the Hunter. Together with Sergei to take temporary shelter from the people targeting him. Serge apologized for having attacked him, which caused him to have to accept the consequences of Serge's actions. Do Calypso ask about what this place really is? Serge said that this area used to belong to his mother's people and was the only thing left of him. But before Sergei had time to tell much, White Tiger suddenly Alexei asked Miller about his real purpose in hunting Kraven because Alex saw that this was no longer a problem he just do this job. Miller said that his mentor used to be one of the greatest assassins in history, but one day he was killed by a man who managed to get into his house, and that person was Miller. Then decided to travel around the world following him wherever. But Kraven was a great predator who seemed to have no weaknesses at all, but after Alexei managed to get his weakness, he knew how to use it. When Kraven was in Turkey, he used the sap from the Rosario nut to kill people. The person there, even though the flower of the rosary pea is in East Siberia and is a rare species that only grows in one place in the world. Miller suspects that Kraven's hiding place has been in Siberia in eastern Russia. Seeing Sipso using his bow and arrow, Serge asks him to be careful in using it. Said that he is very skilled in using this arrow because he used to be an athlete on the archery team at his university. He can identify the chemical fluids here, including the rosary pea flower, whose sap is so poisonous that it can cause death when entering the body of a living creature. Sergei then about an object that he had left with him because all the materials that Lai had today were efforts to find out what was in this bottle for years. Calypso also said that it was an heirloom from his grandmother when he was on holiday in Tanzania. His grandmother was a shaman who had crazy objects around her. At that time he was just a child who didn't really believe everything his grandmother said. But now that he saw it, Calypso didn't think that it turned his grandmother is really great. Seg actually wants to multiply this potion. Calypso said that it was impossible because her granddad died not long after the incident at was now near Serge's residence to kill him. During his journey, Alex asked about a gun that Miller brought with him. Would that be enough to kill him? Because Kraven would not kill if they only carry ordinary Miller weapons. Also said that this weapon contains a formula that has been Mike. If someone is hit by this shot, first he will fall into the darkest dream of his life. Then all his internal organs will be paralyzed. The terrible death did not last long. When Serge was cooking, he got a call from Dimitri, who apologized to him that he was now at their mother's place with Alex. Alex had negotiated with him that he would release his sister and himself if they were willing to work together to destroy his father, but even Serge really hates his father, refuses this and chooses to destroy him along with all his men. from the helicopter gunfire. He must have been a bullet fired by Miller. He began to appear to be hallucinating by seeing thousands of animals he hated approaching him the most, until finally Miller approached him to killing himself. Unable to do much, even retaliating against the directed at him. He even looked helpless due to the hallucinations, and also the influence of his poison that entered. Miller then told Damola that Kraven would die his hands, so it would be better for him to look Dimitri, for Die, who ran away from them. But when Miller was about to shoot his gun, an arrow, released by Calypso, pierced his skull. Seeing Serge's critical condition, Calypso was forced to take out her grandmother's potion to cure him, because what Calypso had given him was only a small part of what abandoned by his grandmother too. Calypso, getting information that Kraven had died, clearly made Alexis very happy, because with this maybe Nicola would repay him, because currently he only had one son left. Alexei also made a trip back to England after a satisfactory result. But in the middle of it, he saw thousands of bulls approaching the car they were riding in. Also seen with animals trying to attack Alexis, who had completely transformed into a rhinoceros in order to save his beloved brother. Finishing off Alexis, asked him where he got the video of himself. Said that he should have known who the person was, because Alexei was confused, because as a great hunter he couldn't realize the person who was right in front of his nose the whole time. A few days later, Sergei could find out where his father was camping somewhere. Serge asked if he was the one who sent the video when he was in prison to Alexei, and whether this was indeed his initial intention, so that he would finish off Alexei. All his words were confirmed by his father, because this is how it should be. His son, since Nikolai found out that his son had the ability to kill like a wild animal, he had actually prepared various plans to kill all his enemies through himself by using the only person he loved as his only biological child. Nikolai was like this. At least he became a strong man, even though he hated himself and was actually very disgusted with his father, because he could have come to him a few years ago to kill him, but he was still his father. Let nature repay all his actions, like the words his father once said to him to never be afraid of. Exactly. Today is my birthday. His younger brother. It was seen that now Dimitri looks happier Since his father died, he can freely manage all his businesses without having to be afraid to decide what is best for him. Dimitri said that he also found a great doctor in New York, and now the two of them, being good friends with the doctor, helped him a lot in a certain sense, and also changed him. Sergei was happy that now his brother was more cheerful than before, but he was also curious, since when did he have connections with mafia? Didn't Sergei once tell him to sell all of his father's assets so that Dimitri would not to the world underground, especially when he saw that Dimitri had also dared to argue with him? Dimitri also said that he liked this because he was inspired by his brother. His best to create a new world like he wanted. Serge tried to chase Dimitri, who was to go somewhere, but when Dimitri turned around, he was surprised to see his brother's face change to resemble his own. It seemed that the doctor who was treating Alexei had now changed Dimitri into a stronger person than before. Dimitri had to do this because for him, Serge had always told him to be quiet, but now that Dimitri was strong, he couldn't control himself again. Just like before, his father is dead, so is Alexei. So he will master everything. Go back home, because in his room his father had left something for his brother, and before H ended up in his former room, Serge found a letter that his father left for him. His father said even though the paths they took were different, he is still his beloved son. Be himself, then he will find the strength to live it. You are more than my son, and they are the best hunters in history. Thank you all for watching the film summary. Mass Arco presents to all of you. I hope you are entertained. See you